Alright guys, HyDra back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Los Angeles Thieves have broken their silence since confirming their roster for the new season, but JoeDeceives especially airing out some serious beef behind the scenes with Los Angeles Guerrillas last season. Which teammate is he looking at specifically? Saying some of these guys should be in federal jail for the way that they behaved last season. Will this new Thieves team be better in that regard? Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Now the World Series of Warzone Finals is today. Here's Crowder and co getting ready to go for the day. Of course, Crowder has now won rather a lot in Call of Duty. He's won the World Championship as a player and as a coach. So, you know, FaZe is saying pending World Series of Warzone champion as well. So I'm going to be at the venue today, maybe from like 3:30 or something. I'm just going to travel down today and stay the night. So, you know, I thought that was the more sensible way to do it, to be honest. And it should be a bit of fun. I mean, the stage looks really impressive, actually, the way they've got this whole thing set up. This is what the trophy looks like for the champions. Of course, you've got the trios thing. You've got the solo YOLO thing as well for like 100k, which is not bad if you manage to take down the W in that one. And obviously, there's some players from various regions around the world. JoeDeceives is one, obviously, we're looking out for in the UK here. He's won quite a lot in Warzone over the last couple of years in the respective World Series of Warzones since they began back in 2021. His Mutex as well on the stage. Also noticed this guy. I've seen him go around YouTube a fair bit, this Tactical Brick guy. And I feel like, you know, I've got to support this guy. There's no other way to do it. So anyway, this is Mutex and stuff at the venue. This is the copper box. It's going to be good fun, no doubt. And, well, we'll see who comes out on top at the end of the day. Before we get into the JoeDeceives drama, though, I did want to mention there was some drama, actually, in Apex Legends with many organizations, well, potentially many, pulling out of the space. Despite the fact that the World Championship for Apex, we discussed it the other day because there was some drama, the OpTic versus Dreamfire thing, it reached, I think, 600,000 concurrents, something very impressive. And given that it's a Battle Royale esports that has, you know, those esports have been difficult to make work and to make watchable, Apex has done a really good job of this and is probably the best esport from a Battle Royale perspective that there's really ever been to watch. The viewership seems to be pretty good. It was popping off during the World Championship Finals a few days ago, but now organizations, especially NRG, a big one, they're leaving Apex. And J Mild says that more organizations are to come, at least FaZe, maybe 100 Thieves, and potentially more as well. Now, FaZe, they've got their own stuff going on, so you can understand why that's the case. But yeah, more organizations leaving is, it just shows, I think, the way the publishers dominate the space right now, and the fact that the publishers such as EA, they're the ones that make the money. The organizations really struggle to actually turn a profit, even if on paper the esport is doing quite well, to such an extent that teams, probably not OpTic in this case, but in fairness it's the same thing for Rocket League, like OpTic pulled out of Rocket League just the other day, and now big organizations pulling out of Apex, despite the fact that on paper both of those esports look to be doing quite well. And this has been the discussion here with Anamapacella, and Jake Lucky discusses it and says, like, you know, how does EA decide to change their operations in order to make it work better for teams? And Anamappa's kind of been of the point, like, do we even need these organizations? Can you just have some sort of player association and EA works with them and the players get paid and they don't even play for organizations in some sense? I don't really know, but it's an interesting idea at the very least. Cutting some sort of rev deal with the players would solve these issues because, you know, maybe EA pays for this type of stuff that the teams don't have to pay for. I don't know exactly. The team business is not especially sustainable, it seems, at the moment, and that's across all esports. It's the publishers that make all the money. Now let's dive into this Los Angeles Thieves thing, right? So yesterday they come out with a new video. Josh and the boys always do a great job with stuff like this. They sit down with the 4 players of the new team, of course, Ghosty, Afro, JoeDeceives, and Cammy. My expectation coming into this was that we know that Ghosty likes to talk a lot, right? Like, he's got a mouth on him, and he was, you know, talking a fair bit of this. But JoeDeceives, you cannot stop this guy. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. I enjoyed listening to him speak, but like, JoeDeceives is a motor mouth, man. This guy goes on, and I respect it. And especially with some of the things that he says here in a second. So fun guys to listen to. Nice to see more of Joe's personality and see, like, you know, Afro was describing where his, I didn't know about this personally, because his username or his Twitter account is still Astros in my Afro. And, you know, I think people assume that I was Astros as in Astros headset in his hair. But he actually says that what it was when he used to play football and stuff in the UK, AstroTurf would get like stuck in his afros. That's actually where it came from. So, you know, nice to hear some stories behind these players, what they're planning for the future. But JoeDeceives especially had some words to say for his former Los Angeles Guerrillas team. And I'm really happy that they've gone for a player like JoeDeceives here, Thieves. I think there's lots of teams nowadays that will see a player that was potentially promising, but they didn't have crazy numbers or anything, and they played on a bad team, and they'll decide, you know what, instead of getting that guy, I'll just get a Challengers player that more than likely would perform exactly the same, if not worse, than a player like JoeDeceives in the position that he was in last season, but yet a team that's theoretically better will try a Challengers guy just because, you know, who knows if he's going to be the next Simp, you know what I mean? Whereas, I think it probably is a more sensible decision for Thieves to go for a player like JoeDeceives, who did well in a bad situation, and in a good situation could be really good, especially now with some CDL experience under his belt. Still a really young player as well. He's probably, what, is he still 18 or is he just 19 now? I think he's maybe his 19th birthday is coming up round about now. So potentially a bright future ahead here, right? But the words he has to say on his former LA Guerrillas team are quite spicy, and look, there were rumours behind the scenes that things weren't all well in that camp, and he says that really ever since Major 2 and beyond, it was an absolute disaster. It was ultra chalked behind the scenes, and some of the behaviour of his teammates was not up to par.
I can't. That's it. GG's.
Ever since then, yo slammed us in scrims. Well, you did. Maybe not.
I don't know.
No offense to your other roster, but
No complete offense. I'll say it.
The hell?
I ain't
send
gonna
him
say
for
it.
them already.
Bro,
Somebody
I mean,
clip
that was just clip it, bro. That was just that whole last year was a crime. That should be a crime. They should. Some of them, I'm not gonna say names, should be in federal jail.
Yo, federal
It was
jail is
bad.
insane.
Dude, it was bad.
There's
Dude,
beef?
no, that was, bro. Like for my
There's
rookie
beef
year, that was
already?
criminal. Like I wasn't perfect, but bro, holy,
Beef.
Didn't enjoy
Starting
yourself.
huh,
Didn't enjoy yourself.
bro.
You have fun at least? Not at all?
No, I did have fun, to be fair though. Like it was still my first
Okay.
year. You know, it's always gonna be fun.
Okay.
It's just like the way we started out, like the first like 2 weeks, like I felt constant improvement. I was like, okay, like I'm getting comfortable to like this, like how to play in the league. And then after like 2 weeks, even heading, like we were like decent. Like we were like, what? We beat Rocker, we beat Thieves, we lost to Florida game 5, but that was our first series. We got Nezled. And then we lost choked against FaZe, should have beat FaZe. Then lost, then got kind of slammed by Toronto. We won first map. No, that was Major.
Was it the
3.
Major
That was
2?
Major 3.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But yeah, Major 2, like, you know, we were decent. Then we just started like going downhill. It was just like bad. And then after that, it was just chalked. People, I don't know. It was terrible. Awful. I think a lot of people even knew what was going on in my situation specifically and still were like, you know, that's just not it. So I'm just like,
That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of fans are like, they don't know what goes behind closed
that's what I'm
doors.
saying. Yeah.
For example, I guarantee like,
That's inherent, though.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing in real sports.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, no,
I mean, bro, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
if,
that's how it
if
is,
it went up to the fans, I'd be like on a
Yeah.
bottom 2 team right now.
yeah.
And now look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing a lot of people talk like, oh, when I got rumored to be on this team, people were like, why are they picking up Joe? He just won 6 series. And it's like,
He ended
yeah,
up
I
being
won
the
6
best player on
series,
the
but
team
like,
anyway, so.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it's hard for me to drop a 1.2 when, you know,
You're
what's going
losing.
on with my team.
Well, if you're
We're
losing,
getting
it's
slammed.
hard to stand out.
I can't even practice half the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Very
like,
few players can stand out on a losing team.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
what
mean,
I'm
that's
saying.
just how it
Understand.
works. Because, like, you're naturally going to be put in a blender.
Yeah.
So this was the roster they put together for last season, right? At least at some point in the season, with Exceed, Arcitys, JoeDeceives, and Assault was the roster for the majority of the year. And look, Arcitys is the one that most people are looking at on this. And to my understanding, the rumours that have been going around behind the scenes, the team generally wasn't particularly happy with Arcitys' behaviour, shall we say. And, you know, at the start of the season, people were like, well, fair enough. Arcitys, he's just been dropped from FaZe. Slashers replaced him and now he's on Los Angeles Guerrillas. There isn't too much of a worse downgrade you could find in the league, theoretically, from going from a team that was dominating, making consistent finals, to now struggling week in, week out in your league games. You know, mentally it's difficult to make that happen. But at the same time, Arcitys did make the call to go to Los Angeles Guerrillas for, you know, we don't really know what they're offering him, but obviously Hook was there for a while before he then went to OpTic. They made some changes, and we thought that there was, at the time, decent money flying around Guerrillas. Not the case anymore, though, and Arcitys, we believe, is now going on to the Seattle Surge. But, look, those were the rumours going around that the team particularly wasn't happy with, like, Arcitys' treatment of things. He was getting frustrated with the situation, wasn't trying to improve every day. Practice was terrible, and it was potentially rubbing off on their results as a result. And we saw this throughout the season, right, from Arcitys, and like, especially I kind of get it, because there was one part in the season when OpTic were making changes, when Dashy was dropped, and before Hook came in, they were going to get pred, Scump was going to retire, and the point was like, well, could Arcitys come back to, he was on the Huntsman, right, Chicago Huntsman, and people thought maybe he could go back to OpTic, and he actually said, shortly after this, in late February, that he was trying to go to OpTic, but the organization said no, or like it just didn't work out. So Arcitys not only had just been dropped by FaZe, went on to like this Los Angeles Guerrillas team and was having a hard time, then could have potentially gone to OpTic, and then wasn't. So you can understand why, from a mental headspace perspective, Arcitys wasn't fully locked in, shall we say, and the general perception of the community at the start of the season tended to be that, poor Arcitys, right, like he's gone from FaZe, still a good player, now he's stuck on Los Angeles Guerrillas. But I think people expected him to turn it around individually, or at least show some degree of commitment, right? And not, as Ben would call it, the crybaby cheese, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there was a little bit of just, woe is me, like, you know, disappointing situation going on, rather than actually taking, you know, the bull by the horns or whatever, and just try to crack on and give the best possible account of yourself, given the situation. So those are the rumours behind the scenes that, especially RCs, maybe the other guys as well, I don't know, because JoeDeceives, frankly, is talking about all of these guys. Well, he said some of them should be in federal jail. So what does he mean by that exactly? Because there's only 3 teammates, really. And okay, sure, coaching staff, management behind the scenes, maybe that's true. But yeah, JoeDeceives doesn't seem happy at all with the way that those guys were performing. And honestly, given the circumstances, Joe, I thought, did pretty well last season on that roster. He does seem to have a good mindset, a good positive mindset. And I think Los Angeles season made a decent call picking him up. I guess the question is, can Arcitys or Assault or Exceed? But Arcitys is the only player we believe, as it stands, is getting back into the league. Exceed might, but we don't know where, if at all. Assault might, but the same story there. Assault could be a good option for some of the teams as an AR. And to be honest, Assault was, for the vast majority of the season, I thought more impressive than Arcitys was. But still, Arcitys' reputation, world champion, he's going to get picked up before Assault is. Okay, in fairness, Assault's a world champion as well. But Arcitys is, you know, his stock is still slightly higher, I think. Although undisputedly, his stock took a massive nosedive this season for the team struggled, and also for some of the reasons that JoeDeceives is mentioning. Can Arcitys turn it around going forwards? I think it's definitely possible. I'm really hoping that Illy turns it around this season, because Illy's had a couple of difficult seasons, and you know, I'm hoping that Illy can have a really strong one here, and I'm hoping the same for Arcitys, of course. Like, I don't want his career to fizzle out, because was such a fun player to watch even back in Infinite Warfare times, was great in, let's say, Black Ops 4, and, you know, was then on the FaZe team, FaZe, like, era that they had, especially during the Cold War season, was obviously a vital part of that. But, yeah, since then hasn't quite been the same, and people have gone from feeling sorry for him to now feeling like, well, you know, you should have done a better job in the circumstances, and it seems to me, at least, that JoeDeceives feels the same way. But he is going to get on a team for next season, we believe. This is the rumoured roster of 4. So, yeah, they've got a lot to turn around. All of these guys, aBeZy, of course, brand new. Obviously, he's got something to prove. But Arcitys, Hook, and Illy all have something pretty major to prove next season, if that is indeed going to be the roster going into the new year. So very much enjoyed to your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.